Alright, so I want to go ahead and start this journey and get it going real good and very good pace because there's a lot of things to be said in the world right now, especially for a millennial as myself, just turned 26. But I have to say I feel I have a little bit to say and contribute to this because I have been in a position of the industry I'm in. I deal with a lot of training younger people, being in the cooking industry, and training a lot of entry level, up and coming younger adults. All right, before I get too sporadic, I'm gonna just go ahead and be direct with it. Millennials need to do more. Need to stop being so lazy because us millennials, we remember when, like back then when I was in middle school, I was just getting a cellular device and internet wasn't really popping that much for millennials. We knew of like RuneScape maybe and some little things on the internet like that. So back then we wanted to be a good skateboarder. You went outside, you practice, you found some people that are better than you, let them teach you, and you got better. And if you wanted to be able to put your name out there, if us in the skate world, we would have to look up skate competitions and where these sponsors would be, and watch shows like Rob and Big and stuff like that to see how these, the big time sponsor people are and act and how they are, so we can kind of become and conduct ourselves in that sort of manner. And you'd have to go to a skate competition, win that damn thing, and then you'd have to hope that they saw you. Even in football, back then, you'd have to go on a team, get better, and then finally get to a position where you're on a high school campus and being seen by scouts. And you just have to hope that day that they chose to be at the place where you were practicing and showing your skills off. Nowadays, people can just make highlights of whatever they're into and just push it. Back then, in the cooking industry, if you wanted people to know you can cook, you had to invite a lot of people to cook for free and just have them all taste your food. Nowadays, you can just show 5 to 10 different recipes and they'll think that you can cook because they've seen it over camera. They didn't taste it and nothing. With football, you could just be doing drills on camera real fast and be posting it up like, oh, look at these great clips. And there's such a reach now, but there's such a laziness of how people want to get to the top. Just know, people, there's no excuse of anything that deals with like organic reach or anything dealing with the internet, because guess what? Like look at this business right here. Whoever made this, probably didn't have the internet at their time, and they made it. Most of the Fortune 500 companies right now most of them were the Fortune 500 companies before the internet because they made it happen without the internet. And a lot of things encountering young adults is that they have no foresight. They're not thinking of next month whatsoever, or even that far. And they're not asking nobody about that either. Like, I'm just saying, for example, someone I worked with. I just started working at this restaurant, and it's been about 2-3 months, so now I'm starting to critique based upon my experience being in the kitchen industry for the past 12 years now. Did 4 years of a culinary class in high school, so cleaning as you go was a great. So I get into this industry with people just free-handedly just doing it, and I just get to wondering, and that's when I start chit-chatting, start picking at and seeing where their head is at. So like, the example is this one man that I work with. He's been there for 2 years almost, and I get there, the station's never done, like put up completely, and it's completely like it's comfortable. They'd be completely comfortable with just leaving and the station not be done. Like you're giving someone, you're handing off someone else's your work, and you don't have your part completed. That's what people don't realize. Like you're in a project in class, but it's based on complacency, and a lot of it deals with the environment that the workplace puts. But that's still a choice because I know and see of the complacency, but I wouldn't dare fall into it because it would just anyone behind me that's not a part of the culture would see that it's bad. And he's been there for a year and a half. I asked him, "Would you be able to make a prep list for this station, like seasonal, and know how much during which season, and the difference between your weekend and weekday?" And me being in that position for 2 months, I could already do that. It's easy as just watching how much you need and knowing how to prep for the next day. So just talking with him, chit-chatting with him, and trying to get him to see that there's a bigger picture. Like if you're going to be here in the establishment of someone else's business, don't treat it like it just doesn't matter because that's someone else's livelihood. And you're in a position where you're making it that a good worker comes in and doesn't enjoy their time being here because the job isn't done, and when they get here they're having to do more work, then you're costing that man's livelihood because you're costing them a good employee. You may be comfortable with it and you do your day shift and get in and out, and then the night shift comes in and it's really hard because that person has to deal with doing the night shift, comes in at 4 or 5, service starts at 6, this person has to prep and make food and then has to catch up every once in a while to see, and ends up finding out something that wasn't done. And this came from 2 under 25-year-old people on the same station that I was doing. Both of them leaving back-to-back days without everything being done. And when I asked them, they both said, like, am I supposed to do everything and then you just sit here and do nothing? And then I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, okay, you must not know what really goes on in a night shift. The night shift is where the best cooks are placed because it's the harder shift. Because immediately, right when you're getting into the night shift, parties are coming in, and you're most likely having to set up for the parties and set up for your night, not find out what you're missing for the night and start prepping it and then start making your day up. And so the example is we have a millennial and a young man, and their choices are to be worried about someone else and what someone else is doing. Like when they're going through their day, they're like, oh, I shouldn't have to do everything and they're worried about what's going on with the next person in the next shift. If I don't do everything, why does it make sense that you don't get to do anything? It's like, you sat back and really thought to yourself that the night person wouldn't be doing anything. And that's the problem. People get paid an hourly and they're like, oh, I did all this and you found the 3 things I missed. It's like, there's no trade-off. You got paid for these things you did. And if you sit here and do these last couple things, guess what? You'll still be getting paid. And it's literally finding out one of them is 24 years old and lives with his parents. I told him, oh, no wonder you work the way you work. I've already asked you questions and I already knew the answers to them of asking, did you graduate high school? You didn't. You still live with your parents? Yeah, I asked him the questions and I already knew the answer to. But I don't want to give him assumptions and have him end up being upset about it. I even asked him when I went through a line of questions. He was saying yes, 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 yes. And I said, I knew those were a yes. And then he was like, are you trying to read me? I'm like, no. You're writing it on the wall. I'm not having to read you. You're writing it on the wall, and I'm just giving to you what you've given me. And you're not liking the sound of it. And I told him, like, a lot of young men end up getting this complex of the big brother syndrome or little brother syndrome, where I told him straight up, just know the little brother is always picked on the big brother's team, and big brother knows the little brother is not the best player on the team, but he's the most loyal. But the one thing big brothers hope to see is for you to get out of the little brother position. To know that next time when it's time to pick teams, I know I have to pick him because the other team will pick him first because he has evolved. And I told him straight up, like, you are sitting here for 2 years, and the other day when we were missing people and people called out, they, instead of putting you up on the line, they put me on the first time being on Saute just randomly. No training, no nothing. But they know what comes in my resume is I know what I'm already doing. You came here from Wendy's for the past 5 years. For the past 5 years, 6 years you were at Wendy's, and you came here, and people, that's how a lot of young men and young people think. They think they get to being a prep cook in some nice restaurant or a fry cook or salad maker, and they just because they came from fast food that they think they went through, they're at a whole nother level. No, you're at the bottom of the totem pole in the new totem pole you're in. So it's like you need to start picking it up. They put him at dishwasher and put me at saute, and then put some random server up as the dishwasher. I'm like, yes, at that moment they calculated who was the best for what position. They picked a server to take your position, and then took me out of that position because they knew I could be a stronger help, and made me saute and put some random server where you are. And when it comes to training people, I've been here for 2-3 months, and they got me training people and not you. And these were hard truths I was having to pull out and push and give him. Like, do you not see the reality of what you got going on? I'm gonna tell you straight up. I was to tell my mom I was in the same position at any job of any work of any field, and I had been there for over a year. She told me to quit that job. I ain't no good at it. She told me straight up, I'm a manager, I'm a CEO, I manage tons and tons of businesses, and giving out thousands and thousands of tax and W-2s and 1099s out. I promote the people that are good at their job. People that are good at their job get promoted. And it's the truth. Managers know, like, at the end of the day, managers know they were an employee one time, and that when they were just sitting there doing the same job over and over and over again, that they felt in their head like they were a computer, that they felt like they were a robot, and they felt like nothing was getting done with their life. Because it becomes a sense of fulfillment. Once you start getting all the bills paid and everything, you get to a point where you're in a room by yourself, everything's paid, but it's like, is this worth it? Is it for the next 10, 20 years, what I'm doing worth it? And then when it came to talking to the young man, me being 26, I feel so far away from certain people and with my mindset. And we'll get to my background and what I've done educational-wise and like the books I've read in my life to try to push me in a farther way. Because I came to an age when I was 24, 25, and finally was like, all right, I don't know shit. I didn't go do good with high school and education. I graduated, but I didn't end up going to finishing college and all that good stuff. I admitted to myself I was in intensive reading until about 10th grade. So for the past year, I've consumed about 40-some books, from Napoleon Hill all the way to Robert Greene, and from Art of War to Art of Seduction, to Think and Grow Rich, to Happy, 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 written by the Duck Commander, and plenty of autobiographies like by The Rock and Kobe, and we'll get into more to that. But when asking him, I'm asking, like, why are you here? Like, what are you doing here? And the person, he's just like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm He's just passing through life. And I'm like, what do you mean you're just here? You're just not doing nothing. You're not thinking of amounting to nothing. You don't want nothing. You're saying you don't want nothing from this place. Like, you're just wasting this place's time then. If you've been hired by a place just looking for a damn job, and a year and a half into it, you're just like, I'm not looking for anything out of this place. Like, what the fuck you mean? You're not looking to get enough money from this place and raises to be able to take care of yourself and move out of your own place? What type of talks do? And that's the thing too, is of this whole sensitive generation. No one wants to. Adults are not telling young adults anymore about how shameful things are. Shame has been thrown out the window of all levels of any aspect. You got men 24 years old, tell someone, yes, I live with my parents. And first thing, when we start chit-chatting on Friendly Matters, there's this girl that he's into. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, how you gonna think you're gonna make this happen? I'm gonna tell you now, you being under 25, she being 28, I'm gonna tell you now, girls are already 2 years ahead in their mindset from just how things work in the world. They're already 2 years ahead in their head. So if you're 28, you're talking to some on the level of 30-year-old man when it comes to intelligence and conscientious about things. And I'm like, I can tell you now, she can tell the difference between a shark and a minnow. At that age, they can tell the difference between a shark, a minnow, a snake, and a demon. And I just told him straight up, I was like, you see these giggly girls, these girls are older than me. They're all giggly in my face and stuff. And I'm not sitting here all flirty with them, but it's a type of energy women like to be around when it comes to seeing the men that in their life that's around the world that they see. Yes, they see you in my position. They see you slow, acting crazy, you mad, you negative about everything, and you can't keep up or execute the station. And you think you're doing too much because you slicing some stuff up for this salad station, and cooking, and not even cooking. You're just placing some salads down while you cut up some other salad stuff, and you're in here in this like hell, like you have done so much in your day. And then when they see me execute the station all day, making everything happen, tons of food coming in, all of it's being made. And it's all positive, because I know at the end of the day, if I'm gonna be unhappy and I don't want nothing from nowhere, then I'm gonna fucking leave. But the thing is, a lot of people come into places like that, like we're at a 3 to 4 star restaurant, and this man, he came from Wendy's, and the thing is with him, he can't. A lot of people are really real with themselves. They just won't say it out loud. He knows if he takes the experience of saying and goes to another restaurant and says, I came from Stonewood, I was this, and he goes there and he can't execute, they're going to say, we know why you're not at Stonewood no more. And why you spent so many years at Wendy's. It's just from a manager perspective. Like managers, they know, they see people come and go. They know why people leave some places. They've seen people come in the door talking some big stuff, like they have all the experience and they've been to all these places, and then they realize, oh, you've been to all those places, but I can tell you've been fired from all those places because I would have kept us around. If you tell me you were at a better restaurant than the one you came here to, of course I'd have got rid of your ass fast. But yeah, I just thought I just should share some things. It's gonna be the first of many, and things will be more organized and more sensible and more of a topic scheme. And I'm just gonna start doing this to just push what's out of my head out into the world, and really this is just for my walks. I'm trying to make sure to exercise every day, because that's something that everyone needs to start doing. Like with women, 80% of women are overweight, and 80% of that number is obese. And it's like, okay, yeah, we'll be talking a lot of things, relationships, all the good stuff. And we're gonna go ahead and push, and I'm trying to push to be better in life, so I can show a process. If I can show a process that people can, you know, copy, then it should work for people. A lot of people put a process up that no one can really follow because it's not like a real world thing. A lot of them are in a position where there's $10,000 in the bank, 20,000 followers, and the example they're giving you isn't the real world. So yeah, we'll work on. Like right now, we're gonna work on buying a house and get more fit and study a lot more. And I bid you adieu from your Florida grown sleeping giant. We're gonna wake up real soon.